Yeah, I think it was a really good week for rugby this week. I think, just before the podcast, we are talking about, the close finishes that we saw, Gloucester versus La Rochelle. I think a lot of Gloucester fans were, believing that their
Oh,
sorry team could
on
win
that on
something.
that point,
Yeah,
how good was that Freddie Clark finish in the corner? Wow.
unreal,
His body was like
unreal,
45 degrees out of there and he put the ball down. Similar like the Willems to try it. That was quite a unique try as well. Both good finishes.
100%. I think. Did you start believing at any point that Gloucester could have won that game? I think especially watching their last defensive phases, I thought maybe they could pull off something, but then ultimately they didn't.
I think La Rochelle are just like the perfect example of like a champion side, especially
Mm.
when it comes to Champions Cup. They always find ways to win games.
No, 100%, man. And I think, they can definitely go and do a good run this competition and, be a threat for most teams. I think along the line of close finishes, we obviously all today saw the Exeter versus Montpellier game, which was an absolute robbery, in my opinion. Probably just
It's just a bad way for a team to go through. Like you have a really good game, 33 all, and then a team that scores more tries go through. I'm like, why does a try have any more value than getting the points another way? Because it makes no sense to me. But there we go.
Can I ask a question? Would you have liked to have seen a penalty shootout?
Oh no, I
yeah,
would have just
Yeah.
rather it should have been either golden like try or points or something like that, like a different way where you because the shootouts like
But the only issue with that, Jack, is you like in that case you're expecting players to play 100+ minutes of rugby.
that's true, but do you not think with all the conditioning, all the money, all the things that
mm,
rugby
I
gets,
think
and
I
that
think the conditioning, the fact that they're all that massive and that big and they're running around for 100+ minutes makes it very dangerous. I mean, you see when players get tired, they don't drop their body in tackles as much. Tackles get higher, players get lazier, and then there's more and more injuries off the back of that. So you can't really get away with playing more than 100
I
minutes.
get what you're saying, but rugby teams have to play so many games, like week in, week out anyway, and sometimes two a week. So why can't they play? Like that is their job. Their job's to they're in a privileged position where they can play rugby, something that they love doing, and they get
yeah.
so much money for, etc. So they should be able to play another like 10, 15
Yeah,
minutes.
that's true. That would be true if it didn't increase the chances of injury like a lot. If you think about those extra 10 minutes when everyone's knackered, you saw with the red card, which we'll get onto. I don't think it was a red card, but the reason Mercer's gone in high is because he's tired. He's not dropping his body because that takes more effort and he's a big man and he's tired. So
Wasn't that
that's
in the sixth?
So hang on. How can you say he's tired when it's 15 minutes in?
it's not
Yeah,
50
The
minutes.
guys, it was 15 minutes in the red card. How can
Yeah,
you say he's tired?
50,
Yeah,
50.
but he's an 80-minute player. You can't say he's tired and that's the reason why he went high on a red shot.
Because he was moving
50,
around quite a lot. So I think fatigue does come into it, and especially when the ball in play time is a lot higher, you can get tired around the 50-60 minute mark.
I sort of understand where Rohan's coming from because that was the premise for the idea of, they were talking about maybe trialing like a 20-minute red card, or if a team gets a red card, you have to replace a player. But I wouldn't use that as an excuse. His fatigue is an
Yeah.
excuse for that red card because that was just ridiculous. I do think Montpellier in that game made life hard for themselves. I think Garbisi had that penalty decision at the end of the game. If that was me, I'll be kicking for the corner. Why with
Yeah.
14
yeah.
men? Well, I can't understand with 14 men you're going to extra time. It doesn't make sense to me.
That was
He didn't want it,
obviously
did he?
the coach's decision, wasn't it? Because the coach
Yeah.
pushed the onto the pitch. So
I still think the point is like I think it should have been a golden try or golden points, for example. Because if you like, if these players can't play that long, why is there extra time in the first place? Why shouldn't it be a second leg, for example? So if you're going to
100%.
play that long anyway, you might as well play to a standard where one team comes out on top. If you know what I mean.
I think especially with the direction with the games moving, which becoming, teams are focusing a lot more on getting penalties, kicking off the tee, but then the game to discredit that, it doesn't make sense to me. So I think a rule change is probably needed on
Yeah.
the side of things, 100%.